Happy World Town Planning Day! I'm Meredith, and in 2019 I had the opportunity to travel to Sweden and Denmark thanks to the CIP College of Fellows, who awarded me the CIP Planning Student Trust Fund Award. My travels were focused on learning about community-led sustainable change and the work that planners can do to support it. I visited Malmö, Gothenburg, Stockholm, and Copenhagen to see how communities in some of the world's most climate-friendly cities are tackling this change. I do have a report that came out after this trip, but rather than detailing its thesis or telling you about how amazing the transit systems are, because I'm sure you've heard, they're amazing, I want to share a few of my favorite memories that made me inspired about what planning can do. In Malmö, I stayed with a host in the City of Tomorrow, which is Malmö's eco-district built on what was previously a polluted industrial port. They went through a pretty significant planning process to rebuild the community into 30,000 housing units, which are completely powered by renewable energy. There was a network of waterways through the neighborhood where rainwater was channeled into above-ground gutters, ponds, waterfalls, and rivers, and then filtered by plants. There were parks and gardens throughout with native plants to foster biodiversity, and the neighborhood is essentially car-free. Each house just has stacks of bikes in front of it instead. Talking with my host, climate and nature is just a part of everybody's lives. They don't need to be working as a sustainability planner or an environmental scientist. It's just incorporated. The second was in Copenhagen, which has about the population of Quebec City or Winnipeg. It has committed to becoming carbon neutral by 2025, reuses 90% of total building waste, and Denmark as a whole generates nearly 50% of its electricity from wind energy, which is the highest in the world. More than a decade ago, a large wind farm was to be built just off the coast of Copenhagen, and there was some public resistance to these efforts. Planners met this by focusing on giving the local community an interest in the project. So the wind farm is now run as a cooperative. It's half owned by the city and half owned by almost 9,000 community members. Planners also offered residents of the area demonstrations and tours to get to see what it would be like. And now surveys show a high level of public support for wind power. The third was in Gothenburg. Gothenburg is in the midst of a major growth plan that'll see the city grow by nearly a third in the next 15 years. The city reminded me a bit of Hamilton, Ontario, a former industrial city, strong art culture, filled with technical urbanism projects. My visit was actually before the implementation of the city's growth plans, but the degree that sustainability was mentioned and focused on in these plans was great to see. Sustainability was a part of business, a part of arts, housing, and all services. In Gothenburg, I visited a park and a neighborhood planned for major growth, but before this growth, the community got access to shaping it. There was a free sauna, a naturally filtering in-harbor pool, a playground, skate park, and community center, all made out of found and recycled materials. It was neat to see the sauna, especially as a popular Scandinavian ritual and health practice, being free and available to all. It was run by the community for the community, and the planner's role was just to support this. Now, these places aren't perfect, and I certainly learned of issues while there, but we do potentially have some things to learn from them. What I ran into in my search for community-led sustainability is that lots of this work is being led by cities and planners. And if that's the case, we can foster community-led work in the future by allowing closeness with nature and the natural environment, by allowing our communities to be able to touch and explore some of the solutions. It's like the closeness of the neighborhood in Malmö with nature and the engagement associated with the wind farm in Copenhagen. I'm very grateful to the CIP College of Fellows to have had this experience. I now work as the Sustainable Cities Coordinator at the Ecology Action Center, and I'm lucky to keep learning and exploring of sustainable planning in my daily work. Happy to share the report or discuss this a little bit more if you're interested.